Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where real-life stories are told with honesty, depth, and sometimes make us reflect deeply on life itself. Today I'm sharing the journey of a young woman who faced control and oppression in love, and her path to rediscovering herself amidst the chaos. Some relationships start with love, sweetness, and hope, but gradually turn into invisible chains that make us forget who we are and lose our freedom. This story will help you recognize warning signs so you don't get lost in toxic relationships. If you or someone you know is going through something similar, remember you're not alone. Every story on Reddit Echoes is a reminder of the power of freedom and the courage to change. Take a moment to listen and join me as we walk through this emotional journey together. Story 1. When Love Becomes Chains, How I Lost Myself because of the person I loved. Hello everyone, my name is Lynn. I'm 25 years old and work at a multinational company. This is my story about how my career dream nearly got destroyed by the love I once thought would save me. I started working at this company when I was 22. Over 3 years, I kept striving hard. From an ordinary employee, I was promoted to a unit coordinator. Recently, I was promoted again to global coordinator, a big step forward in my career. Higher salary, greater responsibilities, and especially the chance to travel for work across continents Europe, Asia, South America. About 4 weeks a year, not too much. At first, I thought it was a well-deserved reward for my non-stop effort over the years. I dreamed of those trips, new experiences, the people I would meet, and the recognition for my hard work. That was the youthful dream I cherished. But there was one thing I didn't expect. My boyfriend An, the person I trusted and loved deeply, couldn't accept it. He didn't say it outright, but every word and look gradually became pressure and control. When I mentioned business trips, he said he wanted a stable, peaceful life with no too many changes. He wanted me to focus on family, something I once thought I would do when I got older, but right now I still want to pursue my career. Every time we talked about trips, he seemed uncomfortable. He said, "If you insist on doing things I can't accept, then you know what you have to do." Those words were like a crushing blow, deeply hurting me. I used to think love was about sacrifice, understanding, and companionship. But when my dream was put on the scale against love, I realized I was losing myself. Since then, everything started to change. He not only opposed my trips, but also controlled every aspect of my life. He wanted to know who I was talking to, my meeting schedules. He wanted me to call him during every small break at work. He didn't believe me when I said I only had professional relationships with male colleagues. His jealousy was blind. Even delayed text replies made him angry. Once I had to commute 4 hours every day just to go home because he wouldn't allow me to stay overnight alone at a hotel during a 3-day training. He even demanded to check my work group chats at 1 a.m. I felt trapped in a suffocating relationship where love I thought would be a safe haven had become chains. For more than a year, I tried to endure, hoping he would change. I thought his care and control came from love, from worry. But day by day, I realized it only hurt me more, draining my mental and physical health. I developed serious stress, insomnia, headaches, and gradually felt like I was no longer myself. There were times I considered giving up everything, work, dreams, even the man I loved, to exchange for peace. But deep inside, I still loved my work, loved what I had built, and wanted to be in control of my life. I left him twice, went back to my parents' home to find myself again. But every time I returned, I got pulled back into the whirlpool of control and jealousy with no escape. I knew I couldn't continue like this. Reddit community opened my eyes. I read thousands of comments, mostly advising me to bravely stand up and get out of this toxic relationship before it completely destroys me. Those encouraging words were like a lifeline pulling me out of despair. I made an appointment with a psychologist, someone who had participated in couples therapy with us, to prepare a safe plan to leave on. I was scared, worried, but knew this was the only choice to save myself. Now I'm no longer the scared, controlled girl, but a woman gradually reclaiming her inner strength. I want to share my story, so those trapped in jealous and controlling relationships know you are not alone, and you absolutely can get out of it. Love shouldn't be chains. Love must be the freedom for you to be yourself. Story 2. When love becomes oppression. The journey to find myself again. Hello everyone, I'm a 25-year-old woman, and this is a true story about life, love, and the seemingly insurmountable challenges I've faced. I want to share it to be understood and maybe help someone who's walking a similar path. Since starting work, I have been hardworking, passionate, and full of hopes for my career. Over the past 3 years, I've worked at an international company and received continuous promotions year after year. My job is not just a duty, but a passion where I find satisfaction and joy. Last month, I was offered a promotion to Global Coordinator, meaning I would work with partners in many countries traveling to Europe, Asia, and South America about 4 weeks a year. This should have been happy news, but it marked the beginning of the toughest times in my life. My boyfriend, 32, always wanted a peaceful, stable life focused on family, and he never hid that. From the start, we agreed not to have children before 30, and both consented to that plan. However, when I told him about the promotion and the business trips, he was unhappy. At first, he just expressed fear of change and worry that I would spend less time with him and on personal life. But gradually, things got much worse. He didn't oppose me directly, but started to behave in controlling ways that made me feel like I was living inside an invisible cage. He called and messaged constantly to check on everything I was doing, wanted to know where I was, who I was meeting and talking to, especially with male colleagues. He demanded I send him my daily work schedule details of every meeting and report all interactions with men at work. He forbade me from using my personal phone to message or call anyone without his permission. Once, when I went to the gym alone, he called and yelled at me for not informing him. He checked my messages and emails, even made me show him my phone to review call and message history. This suspicion and control felt like a trap, slowly suffocating my spirit and freedom. I tried to explain that I loved him, wanted to build a future with him, and only asked for trust and personal space. But he just sneered and said, "You must understand that I worry about our future." It didn't stop there. He interfered with my family life, insisting I only meet my parents or friends when he was present to ensure safety and avoid misunderstandings. I lost friends, lost freedom of communication as every relationship was scrutinized and controlled by him. He even intervened in how I dressed. He thought my clothes were inappropriate, too sexy or sloppy. Some days he made me wear what he picked out and follow him to places he wanted, even if I wasn't interested or comfortable. I clearly remember after surgery, when I was still weak, he constantly pressured me to exercise to get back in shape faster. He insisted I only go to the gym if he went with me, not alone. I felt so trapped it was like being a prisoner in my own relationship. This lasted nearly a year. Every day was a battle with myself. I developed severe stress, insomnia, digestive problems, and other illnesses related to psychological pressure. My hair fell out, my skin deteriorated, and I was no longer myself. There were times I thought of giving up, believing it might be the only way to keep the man I loved. But deep inside, I knew that if I kept going like this, I would lose everything: freedom, joy, even myself. I began seeking psychological therapy. At first, it was hard to admit I was suffering emotional abuse. I feared judgment and being seen as weak. But through each session, I realized there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Therapy helped me recognize the relationship clearly. The control, excessive jealousy, manipulative behaviors, and emotional harm were all signs of abuse, even without physical violence. I also started learning to love myself. It was a hard process that demanded patience and courage, but I knew it was the only way to freedom. Finally, I decided to say goodbye. It wasn't easy because I still loved him and didn't want to lose what we built. But I realized that if I didn't leave, I'd always be trapped in a toxic relationship. After the breakup, I spent a long time healing. I learned to set boundaries, say no, and never let anyone control or invade my privacy again. Now I live the life I dreamed of, free, independent, and full of energy. I continue pursuing my career, traveling, reconnecting with friends and family. Every day is a day I feel grateful for having the courage to stand up. I want to send a message to anyone hearing this story. If you're being controlled or emotionally abused, don't stay silent. You deserve to be loved, respected, and free. You're not alone. Many people are ready to listen and help. Seek support. Talk to loved ones, friends, or mental health professionals. Life is yours. Take control with your own strength. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I hope it can bring some light to those still in darkness. Thank you all for staying with me until the very end of this story. This isn't just one girl's story, it's the story of many of us who have been, are, or may one day find ourselves trapped and suffocated in love. I hope this story has brought you awareness and maybe a little strength to stand up if you're in a similar situation. Never forget, each of us deserves to be loved, respected, and most importantly, to live as our true selves. If you found this story meaningful, please like and share so more people can hear it. And if you want to hear more genuine, deep stories, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any videos from Reddit Echoes. Let these stories be a source of inspiration, a voice for those who cannot yet speak. Finally, I wish peace and strength to all of you. Hold on to your faith and never stop loving yourself. See you in the next stories.